stop chasing clients and start attracting them. Here are the top 5 tips that actually work. Hi, I'm Michelle, mom of 4, wife, and entrepreneur. In the past 6 years, I've built a bookkeeping business from nothing up to multiple employees and a marketing agency from nothing to multiple subcontractors. Now I help moms just like you learn how to make an extra $1,000 or more every single month without sacrificing family time. And in this video, we're going to tackle the biggest struggle that most mom entrepreneurs or even entrepreneurs in general have, which is how to get clients. A lot of times we can feel like we're chasing these clients and never getting the results that we want. So today we're going to learn about how to stop chasing them and how to start attracting them. Tip number 1 is you're going to create 3 to 5 buyer avatars. Here's the thing. Without fully understanding your buyer, how can you attract them and how can you speak to them and how can you really sell them on what you're doing? When you're creating buyer avatars, it's more than just demographics, male, females, average age range, where they live, demographics, skin color. It's all their buying personas, right? Are they frugal buyers? Do they need to do a lot of research before they buy? Do they impulse buy? Do they get referrals and that's why they buy, right? There's so many different things that contribute as to why someone would buy a product or service, and figuring out exactly what your buyer needs to do in order to make a purchase will be huge in developing your sales strategy and your sales funnel. Another aspect is behind what they're attracted to, right? What types of messaging attracts them and makes them, curious of what's going on? What types of logo designs might be attractive? Fonts, colors, different events, what kinds of events and networking can you go to, podcast episodes, do your target audience watch podcasts? These are all things to consider because the more you understand your buyer, the more you're able to tune into what triggers them to buy and what triggers them to pay attention to you. Really all that traffic is it's a fight to get attention to your target audience. You want your target audience to pay attention to you and what you're doing and to be intrigued enough to come and visit your website. From there, you can use this information to convert them into sales or convert them into following you in your email or, in a community that you have, which you can nurture that lead over time until they sell. So really getting clear on that buyer avatar is crucial for the success of your business, because without that, your messaging will be off, your marketing will be off, your freebies will be off. Everything about your business is going to be off unless you know who your buyers are. And this is funny to me because this is a bigger issue than most people realize. A lot of people just assume that they know who their buyer is, but they don't know all the ins and outs of this and they don't have their brand established towards that. For example, I was working with a client of mine who really primarily helps women overcome emotional trauma. We were doing branding for her business and it was very women-led, and she didn't like that. She said, I wanted to be able to appeal for everybody because I want to be able to help men too. The problem with that is when you appeal to everybody, you appeal to no one. Your branding needs to resonate with the people that you're working with. If women are the ones that are most likely to buy from you, then target to the women. And if you're targeting to everybody, it's not going to be appealing to the women, and it won't feel like a safe space for women, because a lot of times women need to be able to process these things and need to be able to work in a space designed specifically for women. So it's really important to understand your buyer avatar and what's going to make them interested in what you're doing, feel safe with what you're doing, like and trust you, and eventually actually buy from you. Once you get really clear on who your buyer avatar is, the next step is figuring out what's the platform that they go on, which leads us to tip number 2. Analyze the platform that is best for your clientele. This is going to look different across the board. Millennials, Gen Z, that type of area, they're a lot on Instagram. You might see them on TikTok, is mostly a younger demographic. TikTok is also, keep in mind, they're short form videos. And so when you're looking at, being able to sell things, if you're selling higher ticket, you want longer form content because that's what's going to build up that trust and respect longer, right? You may not get as many leads, but you'll get more qualified leads and more leads that are ready to convert. And so when you're looking at these things, don't really worry about vanity metrics in terms of who's following and how many followers and subscribers you have. Really look at what's the quality of the content that I'm putting out there. Is it helpful to my demographic, right? Are they going to find value with it? Can they get results just based off of your free stuff? If the answer is yes, then you're on the right track, because if they can get results off of your free stuff, then they're way more likely to come back and pay for your other stuff, right? So these are the types of things that we want to think about when we're making content and when we're trying to attract our ideal client. So being on the platform where they spend their time is super crucial. If you're targeting to above 50, being on TikTok is probably not going to help. If you're selling $10,000 products, being on TikTok is probably not going to help unless you're like a famous influencer or a famous celebrity. And at this point, we're assuming that you're not if you're watching this video, right? So really keeping in mind, what types of platforms we're going to go on to is really important, because you also don't have all the time in the day. You don't have the time to be a full-time content creator, right? A lot of times, these influencers, that is literally their job. They create tons and tons of content. They edit it. They spend all the time setting everything up. They look perfect. They've done all of this. And when they do all of that, that takes so much time, and it takes its own level of skill, which takes time to learn. And so they're literally working a full-time schedule just in creating the content itself. And so that's really important to realize, because if you want to pump out a lot of content across all the different platforms, it's going to take time, and it's going to take effort, and it's going to take expertise that you probably don't have. And so it's really important to just figure out, hone in on the platform that your target audience is spending their time on. The platforms we recommend, YouTube is a great platform. It's long form content. You can build up a catalog of content that's helpful for the reader. It also tends to have the highest converting leads. TikTok is really good just for name recognition and getting out there. They're also shorts. And what I like about that is you can cross-purpose YouTube shorts into TikTok shorts and kind of kill two birds with one stone for very minimal time effort, right? The other thing that I would recommend is figuring out what other platforms work for you. If you have something that's controversial or slightly taboo, X is going to be a great platform for you. It's also really easy to go viral on X once you get some traction build up, just because of how easy it is to share your message with the rest of the world. Another thing is Instagram. Instagram, I would focus on if you have something that relates, wow, look at my body, I've got a great body, or wow, look at this delicious food, I've got delicious, or wow, look at my travels and look at all the traveling that you can be doing. So when you're doing anything on Instagram, it's important to really focus on visual types of businesses. If your business is not visual in that respect, don't worry about Instagram. I would focus on something else. Facebook continues to be a decent platform. Facebook itself, the algorithms have been changing consistently. Reels help, but it's still not the easiest to get a lot of reach on Facebook. Facebook is going to be the best. If you already have a strong influence, you can build up a business profile pretty quickly. Otherwise, I would stick to utilizing your personal page on Facebook. And some people like to have a personal, which is just for friends and family, and then a personal page which has all of their business stuff. But that tends to perform better than the business pages these days, unless your business page is already up and established really well. It's really hard to actually grow a business page these days, unless you've already got some sort of influence on other platforms in which people would actually be seeking you out on Facebook. So once you have a platform, your target audience, what do you do next? And that's where tip number 3 comes in. You're going to get a really good hook. Okay. The good hook needs to be something that really draws them in. That good hook needs to be the first thing, and you have to make sure it's great, because without that good hook, people are not going to want to watch your content. They're not going to want to read your copy. They don't care. So the good hook needs to be something that really makes them say, wow, this person just spoke directly to me. Maybe it's a funny. Sometimes that works as well. People like to laugh. People like comedy. People like something that's lighthearted, right? So it could be really intense. It can be really emotional, really dramatic. It can be just something, feel something, essentially. People go on social media because they don't want to be bored, right? And so the farthest you can make them feel from being bored, they're going to pay attention to. So you want that good hook to be as dramatic, as emotional as possible. And it doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, weeping children, but it can be something like, the start of my video, which was essentially saying, hey, look, if you're struggling with this, we can help. And people who are truly struggling with that, they're going to hear that and say, oh, I need to listen to this and see what she can offer. So that's really what you want to try to get across, is what's a really strong hook that can draw people into what I'm doing so that I can actually provide the value and that they'll actually listen to me and be excited to listen to me. And if all of your content is like that, you're going to get lots of views and people are going to watch. And as long as you can keep up the engagement throughout the video, they'll continue to watch. And number 4 is creating value-packed videos, right? And so here's what I mean by that. There's a lot of different content out there that's super, super popular. Value wins every single time. Right? Value and humor, right? There's lots of different content you can make. You want to build that trust and respect and that reputation and that authority. You want to build all of those things, but creating value, fastest way to get somebody to want to follow you and see what you're all about is by creating so much value that they have no choice but to go out and get a win based on the stuff that you've said. And if you can help them improve their situation by free content, I can guarantee you they are so much more likely to be willing to pay for what you can do privately because they see the value that you bring to the marketplace. So creating value-packed videos, don't be afraid to give it all away. I see a lot of people, I've got clients that I talk to, and they're like, well, if I do it all for free, why would they pay me, right? Then the reason being is because this is do it yourself, right? I'm giving you tons of value in here in terms of how to attract clients to you. You can take this information and go out and do it and do a great job and then end up getting clients that way, right? But if we were to work together, then I can sit there and create a whole content strategy with you. I can help you learn how to make thumbnails by working one-on-one with you. There's only so much that you can put into content for other people to observe and see and learn on their own. And so a lot of people are willing to invest the time to work one-on-one with you to get to basically speed run that whole process, make it super quick from start to finish, to be able to learn all the things they need to learn, but also to make sure it's getting done right so they don't have to waste years figuring it out. So create tons and tons of value. People will see the value. And then the people that want to invest the money to learn it faster or learn it correctly the first time, they will invest the money with you because they know that you're good in your space because you've demonstrated that on your videos. Now, say you've sat there, you've done the buyer avatars, you know where they are, you've gotten established on those platforms, you've generated great hooks, you've gotten value-packed videos. Okay, now what do you do? Because you're posting them out there and it's, you're not really getting that much. So what do you do next? So tip number 5 is where all the magic happens. Consistency and track data and information to adapt over time. And here's why. A lot of times we see these businesses and we see these YouTube videos of successful YouTubers saying, I started a second channel and I got it from 0 to 100,000 in, 24 hours, which is proof that it's not luck. First of all, no, it's not luck. You worked hard to build up your reputation, to build your business, to build your YouTube channel over time. Right. But now here's what happens. YouTube knows your IP address. That's how it tracks its viewers, is by the IP address. Even if you used a different email address, even if you set it up in a way that YouTube would never know that this new video or this new channel is a completely different channel from your other one, it still knows it's you because of your IP address. And so these people, they're kind of disingenuous with their videos because, yeah, maybe they did grow it up crazily, but YouTube already knows that they're going to be successful. And so YouTube is pumping out that content the same way it would with all the other pieces of content and other channels it has. So what do we learn from that, right? That doesn't mean it's a lost cause for you. It just means you're going to have to be consistent with it over time to build it up more organically. And here's the thing that people don't realize. There's multiple different ways to get clients, right? You can either go to them or you can get in front of them and have them come to you. The way that marketing works is nobody sits there and sees something the first time, clicks on it and buys it. You have to see it multiple times before you even recognize that it's really there, before you're even curious about it. Then you have to see it multiple times from that point to start to say, maybe I'll click on this. Like I see this stuff all the time. Maybe it's actually got some value to it. Then you click on it and start watching it. And then if you like it a lot, maybe you'll click into the channel and watch some of the other videos, right? So it's really important to realize that this is a long-term play. When you're attracting clients, anybody who says you can start getting clients right off the bat from organic content and organic marketing is absolutely lying, okay? You have to do some manual outreach during this build-up period. So when you're trying to get clients, this is what I would recommend if you have no money for ads. You're going to do all of the tips that we've outlined here, and you're going to track the data, right? The top 20% of all of your videos and all of your content, you're going to take that information and say, I'm going to make more of this. And you're going to do that on a monthly basis. And what's going to happen is you'll find that over time, your content is just going to get better and better and better because you're tailoring into the things that your target audience wants to watch. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 2, you're going to do what I like to call, and it's not my rule. Okay. It's actually Alex Hormozzi's rule, but I love it. It's the rule of 300. And here's what that means. Every single day, you're going to make 300 minutes of content or 100 minutes of content. You're going to do 100 comments on other people's posts to get your authority, your trust, your stability, and your accountability out there. And then you're also going to do 100 outreaches privately to people. Okay. This is very salesy. A lot of people are going to feel uncomfortable with this. This is really not going to be super fun for a lot of people. But if you want clients, if you're in a situation where you're saying, I have to get more clients now, this is what you're going to do. Okay. Again, you're not going to get 1,000 clients off the bat. Why? Because you have to learn how to make good content. You have to learn how to do good outreach. You have to learn how to talk to people about your business. But if you do this, you're going to learn it a heck of a lot faster than what you're doing now. So work on your content. I personally, because I'm a busy mom and this video is for busy moms, I spend a weekend a month and make all of my content. I film everything. I edit everything. My husband's watching the kids. And then once all of that's done, I set it up on the auto player for YouTube so that it just pumps out throughout the month. And that takes care of the 100 meds of content every single day. I don't really have to do that too much. I also have posts that I do on my personal Facebook. I do that every single day. I have other ways that I push out content besides just YouTube, but any filming I do once a month. And that way it's done. It's taken care of. It's already edited. It's already set up. I don't have to worry about making sure I'm on the computer at a certain time to make sure it gets out there at a specific time. So really making sure a lot of this stuff is automated for you and set up in a system that works where you're not having to be on top of everything all the time will be super, super helpful and effective. So I hope all of this content was super helpful. If you want more help in this, we've got a lot of great resources in the link in the description. So just go ahead and hit that. Otherwise, I will see you on the next video.